Pearls versus Turds time.
Alrighty.
Explain to the audience, Ben. Yeah.
Yeah. This is where we take wisdom from listeners who have gotten this wisdom from usually the internet or social media. And they want to know, is it legit? Is it a pearl? Is it something I should incorporate into my study regimen? Or is it a turd? So far, of all the advice we've reviewed, we've only seen 9 pearls. We've seen 37 turds and 21 ties, which really means we're looking at 58 turds and 9 pearls.
Yeah, ties are basically turds. Ties are things that we're not going to say in our classes.
We're not going to say in our classes, and we're too afraid to tell you that it's bad. For some reason, it's our own inadequacy. Olivia, you write, "Hi, Thinking LSAT team. I've been working on writing my personal statement, and I recently sent it to my university's pre-law advisor." Okay, this is always bad. I don't know why they're always bad to review. I thought that
I wonder if any pre-law advisors listen to the show. You know what? It's very telling. We have never received an email from a pre-law advisor. Let me think about this for a second. Pre-law advisors supposedly are professionals at providing their students advice about pre-law shit.
Mm-hmm.
We've been doing the podcast now for 6 years, something like that.
Yep.
We have 271 episodes as of today. It's free. These pre-law advisors could be listening to it in their cars. We've never heard one thing, good or bad. Like nobody's ever written in to say, hey, I think you guys give terrible advice, or hey, I think you guys give great advice. I think maybe our listeners need to share the Thinking LSAT podcast with their pre-law advisors. It almost seems like that should be part of their job to listen to us. I mean, at least they could listen to it in the car and get some laughs, but okay. Anyway, sorry for the interruption.
If you're a pre-law advisor and you're jumping up and down in your seat because you're like, I listen to the podcast, email us.
Yeah, help at thinkinglsat.com. We would love to hear from you. That would be awesome, actually. And I totally mean it. If we're wrong, tell us we're wrong. We're men of science. We would love to be corrected. Really. I'm not.
And if your email's impressive enough, we'll have you on the show. So.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And then you'll be LSAT famous. It's just puzzling. I don't know why. Yeah. Email us. We'd love to know. If you like us, let us know. If you hate us, let us know. Help at thinkinglsat.com. Okay.
Cool. So anyways, Olivia reached out to her pre-law advisor. I thought that I would send along her advice and see if it is a pearl or a turd.
Great.
Here's her advice in quotes. Law schools, when asking for a personal statement, want you to talk about yourself. Ding. That's correct.
100%. Yes.
Yep. They actually want a personal story. And what they are concerned with is, do you have the drive to be in law school? Okay, I think they are concerned about that on some level. My concern about that advice is that people are going to start like writing a personal statement about how they're committed to this and they want to do this and why law school.
It's not about adjectives and adverbs. It's about what you actually did. So if you can show me drive, absolutely. Yeah. Matt Dumont's personal statement showed drive.
Yes.
Right? But it showed it, or not described. It didn't say I am the type of person who discovers problems and then, solves them. I take a lot of initiative. It wasn't like that with these big, broad conclusions. Instead, it was just specifically a personal work story that Matt told, where basically the business that he worked at was about to go under and he seems like rescued the business.
Yep.
And that showed a lot of drive. That showed so much drive that Ben and I were like, yeah, you're hired.
Yep. We hired him from his personal statement. By the way, don't make the mistake too that we see often. Thankfully, we've seen it less, maybe because people are hearing the show or something. But those statements where someone's like, I have research, writing, skills.
Describe all the skills that they
Therefore,
think law school, that's like lawyer.
lawyers would have, and then say,
Mhm.
I have them. Therefore, I would be good for law school. You're like, what? You're telling this to the
Right.
law schools? They know what's good for them. And also, you're just telling them. So,
Right.
okay. Anyways, so I as long as this advice is not misunderstood, so far so good.
Drive can be a very very productive topic, but it's just got to be showing, not telling. So I'm not. This is not yet made it. It's not leaning yet to leaning. It's not yet leaning, Ben, one way or the other. It's too early to call the pearl versus turd here.
Okay. Think about something that moved you, something that made you realize that you had passion to overcome. I think the word here is something. Overcome something, had leadership skills, had a drive. This sentence seems a little bit broken to me, but
This is now leaning turd because it mentioned the word passion.
That's not good.
Also, something that made you realize that you had passion.
That's going to be an origin story.
The origin stories are almost always horrible. So this is now leaning into the turd pile. Mm-hmm.
I would say it is a turd because at this point, someone's going to start writing about their origin stories, and then they're going to say, and this is why I am so committed or passionate about.
One more sentence, and then we can officially make it a turd.
Okay. Those are the types of personal statements they are looking for.
So doesn't do anything. Yeah, no. If you can show me passion, fine. But you have to do that by showing me the things that you actually did. I don't care about the moment where you realized. I care about what you did after you realized. So sure, drive can be fine, but yeah, I don't know what pre-law advisors are doing, man. You want to keep reading the email?
They want to say something that people like to hear. Someone comes into her office and says, hey, I need help with my personal statement. She's practiced different things over the years and realized that people like to hear this. They're like, oh, okay. Yeah, okay. It makes sense.
It's very super basic it feels like, is this your first day as a pre-law advisor? Like, did you just come off the street and, if you ask somebody on the street, like, hey, I have to write a personal statement for law school, what do you think I should include? Mm-hmm. I can imagine a complete total novice just being like, well, write about what made you want to go into the law.
Like, when did you realize that? Did you realize that when you hit your head on the corner of the bath?
Yeah. You want to be universally reviled by all other humans? Why? Maybe write about that. No, the drive thing is fine, but yeah, this just seems like amateur advice. There's nothing special or different or I think it's going to be a turd. You want to read the rest of Olivia's email?
Yeah, Olivia says, I wasn't quite sure what to make of this advice. Good. I have tried to take your advice into consideration and write about actually doing something instead of describing what I am passionate about. Her advice has me wondering if I've missed the mark with my personal statement, and I would love to hear your thoughts on it. Since my advisor has torn it apart already, I really have nothing to lose. Any thoughts on her advice or my personal statement would be very much appreciated. Wait, did you include your personal statement? Feel free to use my name on the show. I'm a big fan and appreciate all of your hard work on the podcast and the Demon. Well, thank you, Olivia. I can't tell whether you sent in your personal statement, but that would be a lot easier. It's a lot easier to just jump into the statement and say, this sounds good or it doesn't sound good.
Like she did, but Annalisa gets, inundated with personal statements. By the way, if you want to send in your personal statement, it's help@thinkinglsat.com. We cannot cover all of them on the show. It would be very boring if we covered a personal statement every single episode, but we do them from time to time. Olivia, I think your advisor is wrong. To the extent that you can show me drive and show me passion, that's great. But if you want to tell me about drive and tell me about passion, anyone can do that. Anyone could make that shit up. And if anyone could make that shit up, then that's not personal. So you have to tell me a personal story about you. And it's never, I think, or I feel, or I want, or I learned, or whatever. Those, it's, stop talking about your mental state and your, you can't talk about your drive and your passion and your desire and your feelings. You can't, it's, I don't know. I mean, there's different schools of thought, I suppose, but here at Thinking LSAT World, we're much more interested in evidence. Lawyers are driven by evidence. Lawyers are driven by facts. The people reading your personal statement are lawyers largely. And if you can demonstrate the passion by the shit you've actually done, then great. Maybe your current version of your personal statement isn't demonstrating these attributes. And so maybe you should rethink which anecdotes, which stories you're telling in the personal statement to highlight different aspects of your candidacy. But you can't be telling me about them. You have to be showing me them. That's the most important thing.
Yeah. To try to make this as visual as possible, people say that the road to hell is paved with good intentions. That's what happens when people start telling origin stories. They're like, oh, I realized that I want to help poor people or immigrants or whatever. It's like, who cares? So many people in their life have realized, oh, I wish I could have done better. What the hell have you done with that realization? If you haven't done anything, then there's nothing to talk about.
It's the most boring thing anybody talks about ever, right? Like, this year, I really want to start exercising more. This year, I really want to start eating better. This year, I really want to, sleep more. I want to start going to bed early. I want to drink less. I want to whatever, and yeah, that's part of the human condition, is that we have things we would like to do, but it's much more compelling to hear about the things that people actually did.
Yeah. I exercised every day this year and I'm this much stronger. Wow. Okay. Tell me about that. What'd you do? How'd you do it?
Yeah, it's just demonstrates, it means so much more, and like the fact that you went to the gym today tells me so much more than I want to get in shape.
Mm.
That's what's one data point. That's a one visit to the gym.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah, great. Okay, well,
It means you found a gym, you dedicated the time.
You're doing it. Yeah, you did it today, one day in a row. Great, good for you. That's all we have is like this moment, right? So you did it. Right now you did it, you're doing it. Great. But doing it is the thing, not the talking about it, not the wanting to do it, not the desire and drive and passion to do it, but the actual doing it. Okay.
I have so much passion about my future exercising program.
Right. Exactly. Like how people tell you how committed they are while they're on the couch, eating Ruffles. And okay, well, you're not committed right now.
The only other thing I want to say to Olivia, and this is really to everyone out there, my sense of pre-law advisors is that they have been given this job. It's not their primary focus, and therefore they don't care. Not that they don't care about you, but they don't care enough about law school and the application process to really get their minds wrapped around what is good advice. We do this every day. This is all we do. So even though no one's ever told me, oh, you're a pre-law advisor, and I wouldn't even call myself that. I don't think of myself as that. I think of myself as an LSAT expert.
LSAT
but
teacher, yeah.
We do this every day. And so it's like,
right.
Okay, we know more than all these other people. It's where you go to those rooms and you're like, oh, I feel like I don't know anything. And then you realize no one else knows as much as you do. And you're like blown away.
Yeah, the pre-law advisors, I mean, I think they mean well, but there's a couple different types, right? Some of them are these like they're just career counselors, basically, like for all careers. if they're a career counselor for all careers, they don't have any specific expertise in law school. They got too many other things going on.
Yep.
They got people who are applying to PhDs in mathematics and people who are applying to med school and business school, and law school is just one small thing. And, you know, they're going to like know about the LSAT, and they're going to know, you know, they'll have like the very rudimentary basics, but that's it. They're not going to know shit. And the other type of pre-law advisor that I've seen, they'll be a professor. So one guy who I really liked, I don't think he's there anymore, unfortunately, but Professor Brian Buckley, shout out to Dr. Buckley at Santa Clara University. He was a professor in the philosophy department, and he also was the pre-law advisor for Santa Clara undergrads. And he was a really smart guy, like super thoughtful, you know, very passionate about his job, and like really committed to the students. And you could tell because he was like constantly organizing events on campus and stuff. You know, he was like doing extra shit.
Yeah.
And I thought he was great, and wanted to learn more. You know, he would talk to me and like try to learn about law school admissions.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, that's okay. That's the guy we're looking for. And now he's not the guy anymore at Santa Clara, apparently. So I haven't met the new pre-law advisor yet, but I hope to sometime soon. Overall, though, man, Ben and I both, it's funny, as soon as we read it in the email, I asked my pre-law advisor, we're like, oh, I don't know if you're asking the right person.